2, 1. How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. As you can probably tell, I'm quite stuffed up right now. I have a little bit of that COVID, but we're powering through nonetheless and getting you guys some good Yankees content to enjoy your Tuesday off-season afternoon. And today we want to talk about Xander Bogaerts from the Red Sox. He's a free agent, shortstop, a very, very good one at that. Very good defensive player, very good offensive player. Want to discuss what, signing him might look like, the contract projections for him. Is he an alternative to Aaron Judge? Could you get him in addition to Aaron Judge? There's a lot of different ideas that Ryan and I have about this specific player. And I'll tell you what, he is a very good one, right? Like, this is the solution the Yankees have been looking for at shortstop. And now we do project, and we know that their idea is really to go with Oswald Peraza and Anthony Volpe, kind of position battle that spot and see what happens and kind of go with the youth so they can spend elsewhere. But if they decide they want to balls up and go after a legitimate shortstop, a proven one, Xander Bogaerts definitely fits the bill. And, Trey Turner obviously is the best on the market, but don't look past Bogaerts as a really, really good secondary option if they want to go in that direction, Ryan. But when you're looking at Xander, what he has to offer, what are your thoughts about him, and how you doing today, my friend?
I am doing phenomenal outside of my cough. I think everyone's just sickness is going around right now. But if you look at the market and you look at kind of how it shapes out, right? You have your two top shortstops in Turner and Correa. Those are the guys who are going to get the biggest contracts. Dansby Swanson fits kind of into that middle tier where I would imagine Bogaerts is a tier below Bogaerts. So he's definitely not better than Bogaerts or on Bogaerts' level. And then you look at, Aaron Judge at the top of the free agent market, even the pitching side of the ball. You have Rodon, Verlander, DeGrom. Those guys are going to get big deals. What's Bogaerts' deal going to look like? Unlike with the other free agents, like Correa is an obvious fit for the Twins for him to return. The Twins are going to have a vacancy at shortstop. They're going to want to bring back Carlos Correa. The Dodgers have an obvious fit for Trey Turner, right? There's an obvious fit there with the Dodgers bringing back Turner. For the Red Sox, a little bit different, right? If they were to sign Bogaerts, who is not going to stay at shortstop for more than maybe 2 or 3 years, where do they move him? Second base, where Story is? Do they move him to third base, where Devers is? I mean, you can't do that, right? Unless you're going to make him an outfielder, which seems like not a safe bet. I mean, you're going to pay a guy, $25+ million to be your left fielder when you had him at shortstop. I mean, that's just crazy. That's not going to happen, right? So there's not an obvious fit for the Red Sox with Bogaerts. And a lot of teams are going to have to raise the question, hey, do we have a shortstop ready for when Bogaerts can no longer play the position? The market is not going to view Bogaerts as a long-term shortstop. He's not going to get, $250 million, right? So could the Yankees parlay that into, hey, we can move Bogaerts off of shortstop? We have Peraza, we have Volpe, we have Cabrera. At any point in time in which he struggles, he can just slide over to second base. Bogaerts is a phenomenal hitter. That cannot be debated. Hasn't run an OPS plus below 128 since 2018. Hasn't run a WRC plus below 129 since 2018. Slugging is great. His on-base skills are phenomenal. Not an on-base percentage below 360, and that was in 2018 in that 5-year stretch. He's a monster at the plate. Doesn't strike out a lot, solid walk rates, very good power, pretty good base runner as well. Last season had a 4.7 BSR, which is one of the better marks in baseball. I imagine with bigger bases, he goes from a guy who's stealing 8 to 10 bags to potentially 15 bags. That would be a massive improvement for the Yankees in terms of making sure they're remaining a good base running team. I look at Xander Bogaerts as kind of not as the best player available on the market, not as the best fit. I still think Turner's a better fit. But in terms of, let's be realistic here, right? The Yankees are not going to sign Judge and then you can't say that there's a 50% chance they sign Trey Turner. I think that'd be crazy to say that they'd be favorites to sign Trey Turner after Judge goes if they are to bring back Judge. Bogaerts can fit into that, hey, this is a guy whose market potentially falls a little bit, and the Yankees bring in Bogaerts, and suddenly they have a guy who's been arguably the best offensive shortstop over the last 5 seasons, and you put him at the top of your lineup or the middle of your lineup. Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Bogaerts is very formidable. You're going to be bringing in a left fielder, most likely, probably going to be Benintendi, just based on, the Yankees, kind of the track record they have with Benintendi and kind of how interested they were with him at the deadline, the fact they traded for him, the fact that I think Benintendi fits in New York. That's a very formidable 1 through 4. You need someone like Bogaerts, someone whose bat is like Bogaerts, not going to whiff a lot, going to hit for good power. A lot of the guys with good hit tools in the Yankees or quote unquote good contact skills in the Yankees, the top guy you thought of last year was IKF. And IKF, the problem with that is that IKF doesn't have a good hit tool. He just has good contact skills, right? He can't hit 300 in a season. He hasn't done it, right? I think a lot of people expected, kind of felt as a guy's going to hit 300, is going to, go out and lead the league in batting average. You can't do that. LeMahieu's a candidate for that, but he's often injured, and that batting Aaron's going to start dipping a little bit with age. On bases is very good at recognizing the strike zone, but you need someone like Bogaerts who can push the top of the leaderboards in terms of hits and then also generate a lot of power. It forces action. It's a play style that works well in the postseason. It's a play style that works when you look at a postseason environment or clutch environments where pitchers are going to stay away from their fastballs. Bogaerts hits slider as well. He's one of the better offensive players against non-fastballs. So I just think the fit here is perfect for the Yankees, even though, yes, he's a right-handed hitter, and yes, he's just turned 30 years old.
Yeah, so him and Judge are the same age, right? And right now, I'm not looking at the shortstops on the market as first, like, kind of priorities for the Yankees. I'm looking at them as secondary options in case Aaron Judge does end up walking, going to the Giants or the Dodgers, wherever he might end up landing. But Bogaerts, as you mentioned, really experienced. He gets on base at over 35% in his career, 37.7% on base rate this past season, hit 307. Traditionally, he's a very good hitter, double-digit home runs since 2016, and only had one season, 2015, where he hit 7. And that was he was more of a contact guy, but then he's added that power as time has gone on. Like you said, if he could really increase that aggressiveness on the bases, his value skyrockets even more. He's a very good defensive player, especially at shortstop. He can move around positionally in the infield if you needed him to down the road. But right now, I'm looking at him and like the postseason experience is legitimate. He has 44 postseason games under his belt, hit 231 with a 309 on base rate. So not great, but in 2021, he hit 261 with a 33% on base rate, had 3 homers over 11 games in the playoffs. So played pretty well. And obviously his defense is top notch. But the question for you, Ryan, is like, if you're looking at a contract projection for Xander Bogaerts, what is something that you'd be willing to give him? Do you think that the Yankees, is this only an alternative to Aaron Judge? Do you think it's like maybe possible they go after him and Bogaerts, because then you kind of rule out a pitcher in that sequence too?
Yeah, so here's the way I view it. So I've talked about this religiously with the Yankees, their revenue last season. They generated a ton of revenue, and they had a very high payroll, and Aaron Judge is obviously a big part of that. The Yankees need to bring back Aaron Judge. That's the number one priority, number one on any list. Doesn't matter. You are objectively wrong if your number one priority for this offseason isn't bringing back Aaron Judge. You're wrong. You're just not correct. Bogaerts can happen with Judge. The Yankees have a lot of money. The Yankees are a team that can go out and spend, and they need to have that kind of impact signing that isn't Aaron Judge and that isn't bringing someone back. The Yankees need that, right? It's realistic for them to do both. The Yankees can run a payroll under $270 million and have Bogaerts and Judge in it if they maneuver contracts correctly. I think they could even do it without moving Josh Donaldson. They have avenues in which they can cut payroll in different places. And here's the reality of it, all right? The Yankees are not going to ascend from, perennial ALCS exits if they don't make that impact signing. Is it possible that someone who's on, we just saw Harrison Bader have a monster postseason. Or is it possible that someone who you don't anticipate to be in the middle of your lineup goes out and has a strong postseason? We've seen playoff runs like that. The 2021 Braves are a big example of that. But that's an oddity, right? We think of that, oh, wow, that team went on a run that was unexpected, right? A lot of the teams that have gone out to win the World Series in recent memory are remarkably talented teams loaded with star caliber players. The stars are the ones that get you into the postseason and through a postseason, right? Those are the guys that tend to do the best in the postseason. It's not about, it's a random. It is random. The postseason is random. Look, the Dodgers, Mets, and Braves, none of them made the NLCS. The postseason is random. But you can control who's on your roster. You can control that. And if you put very good players on your roster, you have star caliber players on your roster, you cannot try to create a star player in the aggregate, right? When we talk about, replacing value, right? You can't recreate Aaron Judge. You can't recreate what the value a star player has, not only to your revenue, but to the on-the-field product in terms of your ability to win the postseason. When Altuve had Altuve was terrible in the postseason. So bad. Just a complete non-factor. Bregman, you have Tucker, you have Alvarez, you have Pena who steps up. Superstars, star-level talent. I wouldn't consider Pena a superstar, but very good talent. And then the occasional guy who overperforms what you expect him to be. But when you have so many stars, it's okay when one of them slumps. When Aaron Judge slumps, this team is unwatchable. There's not a single redeeming quality of this team when Aaron Judge is slumping. Rizzo had a great postseason. I didn't even notice it because if Judge isn't doing anything, Rizzo hits a solo home run. That's all that's going to happen because no one's going to be in front of him getting on base. So I look at a guy like Bogaerts and say, I'll run my chance. Okay, I have Bogaerts, Judge, Stanton, Rizzo in my lineup. At least 2 of those 4 guys are going to play to the back of their baseball card in the postseason. I'll at least have 2 very feared hitters in the league, 2 guys that I know can go out and single-handedly win me a playoff series. The pitching's there. Right? You mentioned maybe the Yankees are going to add a pitcher. The pitching's there. The pitching depth is there. This team didn't pitch their way out of the postseason. This team hasn't pitched their way out of a postseason in years. I feel like the pitching hasn't been an issue for this team in playoff runs. They have to hit. And Bogaerts presents an opportunity where, I'm not asking this team to spend $300 million. I'm not asking this team to pay $33 million a year to a shortstop. I'm asking this team to pay under $200 million and go out and get a player that you've seen for 18 games a year, what he can do to you, what he can do to the American League East, what he has done for the Boston Red Sox, and bring him here. You're weakening a rival who, yes, they were bad last year, but at any given point, the Boston Red Sox can go out and compete for a playoff spot and go out and have a deep playoff run. You're hurting them actively, and you're adding to your team. The Blue Jays aren't going anywhere. They're not going to go out, and you think they're going to try to have a quiet offseason? You think the Rays are interested in just rolling over for the Yankees? The Astros just signed Jose Abreu. I imagine the Astros want to continue to do more. You don't think that there are other teams? The Mariners are going to be aggressive. They just brought in Teoscar Hernandez. They want maybe Gleyber Torres. They want to go out and get better. The National League isn't going to get any easier either. The Mets are still going to remain very good. The Dodgers are going to remain aggressive. They're talking to Verlander. The Braves are going to remain very good. I imagine the Phillies, who are also interested in Bogaerts, are going to remain very good, or going to try to remain good. The Cardinals have always been very good. You can't be middle of the pack. It's not enough to be a good playoff team. Bring in Xander Bogaerts if you want to go out, or a Trey Turner, whatever it may be, but specifically Bogaerts. If you don't want to blow your budget out, but you want to make sure that you have the best team in the American League, Judge and Bogaerts, they come together. Bogaerts is not a fallback plan. If you say, well, we didn't sign Judge, we brought in Bogaerts, absolute failure of an offseason because there's no Judge. Need Judge, need Bogaerts. They need to be together, and this team needs to have that dominant lineup, that dominant impact signing that isn't Aaron Judge.
So what you're basically saying is that Hal Steinbrenner should open up the pocketbook and stop being, a pussy.
Be the Yankees. Be the Yankees.
Be the Yankees. Yeah.
Be the New York Yankees. You're the richest organization in sports. You haven't won a World Series in 13 years. I was in kindergarten the last time this team won a World Series. I'm in college now. Get it together. All right. Let's win a World Series. Spend money.
How about been to a World Series, let alone win one? So I understand. where you're coming from because, last year the Yankees were in the first threshold of the luxury tax, 12.5% subcharge tax rate, right? They go into the second one, it's a 42.5%. They got Donaldson coming off the books next year, whether they keep him or not. They have some big money coming off the books. They might try to move somebody this offseason, like an Aaron Hicks. Isaiah Connor for $6 million. He'll be gone. You have so much youth filling these spots on the roster that, are going to be extremely low cost. Stanton's big contract, Garrett Cole's big contract, DJ's big contract. Those are the 3 primary ones. But look, the Yankees can't afford it. They're the biggest market in the entire sports realm, right? They have the biggest market in sports in general. Tell me another market that's bigger than New York City. Everybody here lives and dies by their sports teams, mainly because living in New York City, or I'm not even saying just New York City, across the country, you look at Florida, a lot of New York sports fans there, Connecticut, New Jersey, obviously New York City is a big hub for that, but I'll tell you what, New York City, living here, you just die every night. I mean, yes, I work in sports, but if I didn't, I'd be waiting every single day for the Yankees to play, or the Knicks, or the Giants, or the Jets, or the Islanders, or the Rangers. This is life here. You know what I mean? This is the outlet. And Steinbrenner has to realize that these people live and die by these games. They show up to the stands. There's players that can't play here because of how passionate the fans are. Yes, we are quite hostile, and I'm not going to generalize and say everyone's like that, but there are people out there that are extremely hostile and angry and mean and whatever, and just talk shit about players. But it's only because we care so much. You know what I mean? Like, I wish those people didn't do that, and we had a better name to ourselves at this point in time, especially booing Aaron Judge. Like, whoever did that's an absolute moron. But at the end of the day, we live and die by our sports teams here, and Steinbrenner's got to back that up. The Mets over here are building stadiums and spending billions to improve this team, and Steinbrenner's sitting here with more money than God, trying to figure out how he can save a penny. Sir, like, look down the street. You look where your stadium is in the Bronx. Everybody around you would die to be in your position. You know what I mean? Like have some respect for those people. Like, spend big because you can. Don't hold back pennies on the dollar while you're a multi-billionaire and, whatever. It's just, it's ridiculous in my opinion. Do it for the people. Do it for your team. Do it because we haven't been to a World Series since Ryan was a zygote. That's how I kind of feel right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to kind of just second that point, Hal Steinbrenner can really alter the way people have viewed him over the last few years with the big offseason. If the Yankees go out and spend and they end up winning a World Series, I'm sorry, the label of this guy's cheap, this guy doesn't care about winning, immediately evaporates. It disappears just like that, right? Just as much as we're passionate, Yankee fans have a short memory in the sense of, we can forgive very quickly with a championship. A championship erases all, right? We mentioned this with Stanton's legacy completely changed the second he had a good postseason. The second he was dominating the postseason, he went from this guy's injury prone, this guy stinks, to, yeah, he's injury prone. Yeah, he's not going to play 150 games. Yeah, maybe you'd rather pay, maybe it's not great to pay that much money to a DH, but he kills in the postseason. So I don't care, right? New York fans are very forgiving in the postseason when you succeed. Harrison Bader went from a guy that everyone hated the trade to, oh my God, the Yankees traded Jordan Montgomery for Harrison Bader. What a great deal by Brian Cashman, right? Brian Cashman, Hal Steinbrenner, your legacies or your current reputation changes dramatically. I think Hal's interested in changing that reputation. I think Hal would love to not get booed during every ceremony. I think Hal would very much adore. Could you imagine him going out after the Yankees, if the Yankees win the World Series on 2024 opening day, presenting all the rings, and he walks out after? He's not going to get booed. He is not getting booed if this team spends a lot of money to win the World Series.
For 5
right,
minutes.
Dude. So my banner is someone saluting Hal Steinbrenner. Ironically, I will stand up and salute Hal Steinbrenner at Yankee Stadium if we win a World Series and he just blew by luxury tax thresholds. Ultimately, and I'll end my point on this because I talk a lot, but Hal has the opportunity to go out and spend a lot of money and give us a great chance to win the World Series and give himself a great chance to kind of fix his reputation a bit. The product in the field's pretty good. The Yankees have done great at generating revenue. Yes, network's doing great. Capitalize on that. You are a global icon. You can become even more. You can do even more. You can have even more, right? Just go for it. Screw it. I'm not going to be mad if you spend and you lose. I'm not going to be mad. There's nothing you could do at that point, right? You just have to try to, you just got to keep at it. But this is a team that is in prime position to win. This is a team that I want people to stop being so negative about and being so, oh, it's the Yankees, we're going to blow it again. Or we're going to bring in like Jose Quintana as our big free agent signing. No disrespect to him. Or we're going to bring in, Elvis Andrews to play shortstop. I want that reputation to go away. I want Yankee fans to be less pessimistic. I think overall the vibe around this team should be more positive. I think Hal has an opportunity to make it more positive. And I think fans should hopefully gain the trust, feel positive about this team if Hal can put his money where his mouth is, literally.
And look, I don't even think it's about wanting more for the Yankees. I think it's about maintaining what they have. You know what I mean? Like, they're starting to lose market share because the Mets right across the East River, I'm looking at it right now, they're freaking making moves. And the Yankees could lose that mindset. They could lose that respect. I still view the Yankees. A lot of people still view the Yankees as the team that goes out, spends big, gets those great players, invests in their team. They got big competition across the river right here. You know what I mean? Like, they have to maintain what they have, let alone getting more. They got to keep what they have, instead of losing it. So I think that's really on the fence right now as well. They're just how Simon are maintaining the respect of his team, the dignity and that aggressiveness and doing whatever it takes to win. It seems like he's just kind of cutting corners right now and trying to save a dollar. And I don't think he needs to. I mean, I don't know his financial situation, but I imagine, the Yankees are an incredibly profitable thing. The Yankees are profitable in general, and he probably makes hundreds of millions of dollars every year, let alone from any other sources of revenue he has, which I'm sure are endless. So, sack up and do something. That's what I want to see, guys. And I'm sure you guys all agree. So love to hear your perspectives and opinions below in the YouTube comments. As always, make sure to like and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.